and welcome to my office. Today we got a new thing arrived in the post from the US, Amazon Elemental Media Encoder. Let's have a look. No surprise where it's come from. They're kind of making that fairly obvious. Let's have a look inside. So, AWS Elemental Media Encoder. We've been using Elemental for streaming for a little while now on our events, and it's proven to be very high quality, very reliable. And then we heard about this encoding device that's part of the platform. So with some more events coming up, we got one in from the States, and we'll have a look at how it goes tonight. So, quick start guide, although from what I understand, we shouldn't require that. We should plug it in and it just works. Looks like it's moved a little bit in shipping, so hopefully that's not a problem. And that is it. This is the AWS Elemental link. Let's see if there's anything else in the box. US power lead, but that's okay. They did ship an Australian power lead in a separate box. Let's put that over there. And we have a power supply. Okay. Now, from what I understand, we should plug this into power in the internet and it will appear in our AWS console. So we'll do that in a moment. Configuration is fairly straightforward. All the connectors come covered, so nothing gets in during transport. We'll need the Ethernet connector, and tonight we'll be using the HDMI, but we often use SDI on site. Let's just unplug that. And there's a USB, which I believe is for any local firmware updates, although in theory everything happens over the cloud. So on the front, we've just got some status indicators and a button, which we'll find out what that does. So let's get this plugged in. There. And network, it is PoE powered, so in theory we don't even need the DC. Let's prove that. Indeed, no DC, it is powering off PoE, so just put that power supply over there. So on the front, we've got a power light, which is blue. We have an online indicator, an AWS indicator, and a streaming indicator. They sound fairly straightforward. And if they're to be believed, we're now connected to the cloud. Let's have a look. So this is the AWS Management Console. If we jump into Elemental Appliances and Software. Actually, no, my mistake. That's where you would go to order one. Don't be concerned by the fact that it says not available in Sydney. It just means you can't buy it from Sydney. If you go to US East or US West, you can order it and then tell it to be provisioned into the Sydney region. So you don't have to stream around the world to get there. Media Live. Devices. Look at that. What we have there is the device with a connected state and no preview available. Something I haven't got set up is an input. So let's just do that. And I've plugged it into my Mac, just into the HDMI connection. Let's see. Now that it has a signal, the streaming light has come on. And indeed, there is my desktop picture in the AWS Elemental Cloud. That is now an input I can use. Now the question is, do I have to associate that manually with my channel, or is it just there? So I've got a couple of channels set up. Let's have a look. So let's see. Oh, guess we might have to add that as an input. So let's have a look. Create input. Media link. Input devices. Input device. Name. The old laptop's going to sleep there. And let's call it live encoder. Create that input. And there it is. It's an input. We have a preview of what's going on. It has a name. So now if I go back to one of my channels that it's set up, I go to edit channel and go to add input. It is now there as an input. I can add, I can confirm that, and I can update the channel. That is that. It is literally that simple if you actually have an input already plugged in to the encoder. Now, I don't have time to do some quality testing, but I am using this on some upcoming events, and so I'll do a follow-up video of the... And we're back. I said I wouldn't, but here I am. So I've got an input set up into the encoder now, playing the classic Big Buck Bunny video. Every video person is familiar with. So we can see it's coming in there. Connection status is connected, and you can see device state is streaming. That's because I've turned on the Media Live channel. So it actually has somewhere to send the video now. Now what's interesting, so we should be able to select that, and we can see that we are synchronized with the device. So it basically means the settings in here are the same as on the device, because you can do offline changes. The device is, say, in an OB truck that's traveling. So it's streaming, it's connected, 1080p 60. That is the highest resolution it supports as far as I'm aware. We're using the HDMI input at this stage. It's set to DHCP. There shouldn't be too many situations where you need to change that unless you're in a specific application where you need to do a static IP address. So default bitrate, 9 megabits per second. So I think let's leave that on there, because one of the advantages of this device is you've got a maximum bitrate there. Not only is it doing variable bitrate, it's also adapting to the network conditions. Because it is part of the AWS Elemental Cloud, the server can actually speak back to the encoder and give it a hint on whether it's dropping packets, whether it needs to reduce frame rate. It can actually reduce bit rate. It can actually resend frames, I'm told, if they get lost along the way. Now, I'll know more about that once I get it out on site onto some crappy regional 4G. But let's have a look. So I'm watching the stream in a different window, so let's pop that up. And we've got the video coming in. And basically, it's looking pretty natural coming through. If we pop back to the web browser, I can go to the channel and there's help here. So what we can see here, we can see there's been no alerts, which is great. The input stream, so fluctuated between 8.43 and 7.18. Now that could be network conditions or more likely just the content in the video. And network out, you'll see that number will be different because that will reflect the settings that we've set up on our channel. So we've defined bitrate and other statistics on our 1080 channel, our 720 feed, 480, etc. Input frame rate. Now, if you don't look at the scale, it looks like the frame rate's all over the place. But if you do look at the scale, we're jumping between 59.35 and what's that? 60.03. So that's a pretty consistent 60 frames a second on the input. So that would probably suggest that the internet's not the problem. No losses, no drop frames. So if you have a channel already set up, literally it is minutes from receiving the box to having a stream live. No configuration necessary, so you could just send it to anyone who's got a video input and an internet connection would be able to make this work. And once it's online, you get to define the settings remotely. So that's it. That's my day 0 with the Elemental Live box. Elemental Link box. As advertised. You probably wondering about price. So you have to order this in the US. You cannot get it off the Australian store, and like everything in AWS, it's in US dollars. It's, if my memory serves, the box is $995 US. You've then got a shipping fee, and you've then got a customs fee when it hits Australia. So all up, depending on the exchange rate on the day, you're probably looking $1,500 thereabouts for that. Once you get it landed, you might get lucky if the exchange rate's in your favor on the time you order it. Like I said back at the beginning, don't be concerned that it says you can't get it in Sydney. It just means you can't order it in Sydney. You configure it in Sydney, and as you can see, it came straight up into my account. So make sure when you're purchasing it, you purchase it from the account that you want to use it in. Not that you can't reconfigure it, and that's in all this information here. You can manually move it to a different account if you needed to, or to a different region. But much simpler if you just order it from the one you want to use it in. That's it. Thanks for watching the first stream on this channel. Thanks to AWS for sending a box and having it do exactly what it says. Thanks, guys.